Hi, it's Darius, and today I want to talk about your limits. And do you really know what your limits are? And this is a really key topic because so many people say, I did my best. And they think that that's all they can do. And I think as a society, many parts of the world, particularly in the US recently or the last 20 years, people have felt like, hey, if I do my best, that's enough, right? Whereas sometimes really what's needed is that you go beyond what you've done before, or more particularly, you see it through to completion. You do not stop until that thing is done, until that knowledge is attained, until that campaign is successful, until that thing that you want to do is completed. But how do you do that when you have a gap, right? A gap between where you are now and where you want to go. You see, the biggest challenge is if you've never done something before, you're not really going to know what it takes to get there. And if you have a belief like I did my best, you know as well as I do what happens is we go up to a certain point that we think is our best. That doesn't meet the mark. That doesn't get us there. And then we say, oh, I did my best. And then we start a cycle of failure and a cycle of challenge. And the bigger problem with this, the bigger challenge, you're not going to believe it, but the bigger challenge is you never transcend. You never fully transcend the reality, and you become trapped in a reality bubble. So how do you get out of that, right? That's the big question. Like, okay, Darius, I know that. I want to do something different. Well, you have to set a no limits mentality. And that's very difficult for some people, but here's a way you can really understand it. You've got to say to yourself, I will do whatever it takes to reach this goal, because up to this point, what I've done has not been enough because you simply don't have it. So how do you do that? Well, first of all, you have to understand something. Everything is difficult until you break through your threshold. There's not going to be one thing you do in your life that's necessarily going to be easy. If you start a new business, you're going to have this complete naive enthusiasm that's going to make it seem like, well, this crypto trading thing, that's going to be easy. Doing this podcast thing, that's going to be easy. Doing this business here is going to be easy. And that naive enthusiasm is really a blind spot because you realize that in every single thing you do, you're going to bump up against the wall. And guess where it really starts to hurt, where it starts to get difficult? It's the wall that's the same wall you've come up against in so many things in your life. It's what you've done in the past. It's the level of effort, the level of professionalism, the level of, push through that you've done in the past. You're going to hit it again with anything new. But here's the thing. The more you begin to honor your word and do what you say in even the little things, the easier it is to transcend those barriers. So here's some suggestions. The first one is always keep your word. If you say you're going to do something, keep your word, not just to other people, but to yourself. The second thing is transcendence. I want you to think about moving beyond your limits, not as something scary and difficult or hard or something to be avoided, but it's actually freedom. It's actually true freedom. It's actually going to be the liberation that you probably always wanted your entire life. Why do I say that? Because once you transcend your limits, then you realize you are a free being. You see, anything that requires discipline, be it exercising, losing weight, building a business, dealing with employee challenges, being kind to somebody when you feel like maybe they don't deserve kindness, all of that absolutely helps you transcend the blockages, the barriers. So focus on the transcendence. And the third thing is be willing to be open to the suck. Yeah, the suck. Sometimes things are going to suck and you're going to go through it. And what happens is at first you're like, man, this sucks. This is terrible. I can't stand this. Why is this happening to me? Be open to it. Most people will run away from it and be like, I don't want to look at this. I'd rather go watch TV or rather go not deal with it or rather just stop what I'm doing. Be open to the thing that sucks, because on the other side of that is your transcendence. So you can say, look, I'm going to feel into the feeling. If I've got fear, if I've got worry, if I've got concerns, I'm going to be open to that feeling. I'm going to feel it, and then I'm going to decide to keep going and move forward. Once you're present to your feelings, you're going to realize that that's all they are. They're just feelings. They're not necessarily facts. They're not necessarily things that are set in stone. Just because something bad happened or is happening doesn't mean it's going to have an outcome that you think. Your mind is going to go and create all these scenarios. Be open to receiving the thing that sucks. Don't avoid it. Be present to it. Allow yourself to feel it. And then once you're done feeling it, you're going to start to find options and ask questions. How do I do this? Who could I ask for help? How do I make this a possibility? How do I move forward? And how do I create what I really want? The number one way to move forward past your limiting beliefs is to absolutely be open to realizing what you have done in the past, what you have created is just up to your comfort level. And to get to the next level, you're going to have to open up. You're going to have to be willing to go through and transcend and be open to the uncomfortable feeling. And you're going to have to honor your word. But I promise you, once you start doing this at little bitty things, be it getting up early, be it writing in your blog, be it journaling or whatever else it is, you're going to find it gets easier and easier. And soon, those limitations, they just don't exist. You have a framework to move forward and become truly free. And at the end of the day, you'll be liberated and happier than you've ever been. I hope this message finds you well. Hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And know this, everything I am saying absolutely is about transcending the mundial world, transcending the paradigm of the third dimension. Much love.